Hi guys. Oh, I feel like I'm so close. Happy Tuesday evening. I feel like I just did this because it did a couple hours ago with the amazing Taylor Simpson. I'm having another incredible human being, friend, tribesmate of mine, Elizabeth Benton, coming on. And this is another story. This is another person that you absolutely need to hear about, because what I can tell you about Elizabeth, I mean, we had some good, what's up, Joey? We had some really good time together. Hi, Renee. And Elizabeth is the real deal. She is someone that practices what she preaches. She has an incredible story. Health, wellness, personal, so many things. And I'm going to wait for her to jump on. She should be here soon. Hi, Margie. Excited to get started, my friend. So I'm going to wait. There she is. So Elizabeth, I'm going to wait to see if I can add her. Elizabeth, I saw you popped on. Make sure you're on your phone, because that is how I can invite you on. We can't do it via computer, only phone to phone. So I'm going to see if she can pop on. Not yet. But guys, why I am consistently interviewing my tribe's mates, hi Jode, is because people need to hear not where people are now, but where they came from to get to where they are. Because the old adage states, everyone sees the glory, but they don't know the story. And it is my job to introduce those that are really doing big things, that don't necessarily, they've had to do certain things in their life that they would tell you that they didn't give up certain things, but they just leaned into what's going on to really get what they truly deserve. So I'm going to bring out, and guys, I'm going to do more of the asking and listening, and I really want you guys to interact, share your takeaways, give her some hearts and some thumbs as you resonate with what she's going to share. Hi.
Hi.
You need to have
headset.
Alright, then I'll be back. Computer, I'll be back.
Okay.
So she's coming right back, and it's interesting because when I first started doing Facebook Lives, you didn't have to have your headset in, like it was just fine. But now there's interference when people don't have their headsets in. Hey, Rich, good to see you on. Hi, Anita. So again, while we're waiting for Elizabeth to come back on, if you guys can interact with me right now, type in the chat box the biggest obstacle you had to overcome. What's up, Todd? What is the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome in your life? Because everyone has had obstacles, but it's really important to see. All right, let's see if I can add her back in. And this is what I want you guys to start taking away. Take notes, really hear her story, because it's so amazing. And again, this is all meant to raise awareness and attention that each one of us deserves the most incredible and amazing life ever. It just takes certain decisions and certain things in our life to truly achieve those things. So I'm going to wait for her to pop back on when she's ready. So for those that are on here right now, hi, Luna. What is the biggest thing that you had to overcome in your life? I'm asking you guys first before Elizabeth comes on. What is the biggest thing that you have had to overcome in your life? Because you're not alone. There's other people that have had to do this. Margie says, self-worth, just finished gratitude training, and she feels worthy and humble. I love that, Margie. I love that. All right, so let me see if Elizabeth is back now because she was grabbing her headphones from her computer. And that's so true. You know, gratitude is the best attitude. I actually did a training audit in my Network Marketing Academy this week, and it's all about, you know, living in gratitude and really, you know, and Luna said the biggest thing that she had to overcome was loving herself. So you can see that we've all had obstacles. Me was my own self-worth, but also my confidence. I was always one of those people that I let people walk all over me. I let people take advantage of me, and it didn't do me any good. So for those that are coming on, thank you, Margie, and thank you, Luna. Crystal said, realizing that I am enough. I love that. I love that I am enough. I just love it right there. That is something that I absolutely believe in as well. Hi, April. So I appreciate so much for those that are sharing already what they have definitely had to overcome. John says, accepting my diagnosis and it will not stop me from excelling. Absolutely, John. There is no give up in life. All we have to do is keep moving forward. So again, I just want to thank John, Margie, Elizabeth. She is here. Let me just grab her and we can start this up. So thank you guys for waiting. You definitely want to hear this story. It's going to be amazing. All right. I think we're good. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Try unplugging your headphones and then plugging them back into your phone again. See if that works. It might reset it. Try taking your headset out. Try taking them out.
How about now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Oh, yay. Sorry,
Okay,
I was
good.
on my computer, and then I grabbed my phone. We're good now.
All right. So,
hi.
Hi. It's really great to see you.
You too. You too.
How is? Oh, FYI, I got to show you something. Hold on.
Yeah.
So, look what came in the mail the other day.
Oh, look at you. Nice.
So for those, like, we were having dinner one night, and I'll let Elizabeth talk about her podcast, but we were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I use Anchor, and she reaches into her purse and she pulls out this. And I'm like, what is that? And she goes, it's my microphone. And I'm like, you just carry a microphone around with you? So for those that do a podcast from their phone, it's called the IQ6. It's $99. It will be the best $100 you will ever spend in your entire life. So Elizabeth, thank you. This has been, it's fun because I like set my phone up on my little tripod and I turn it and I'm like just speaking. Like, it's like you have this whole little studio now and it's amazing. Yeah. So
it is amazing.
So thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Okay. So let's jump right in. You have, I loved the fact that we had some extended amount of time to spend together at dinner and really talk. And there's so many things that I want you to touch on because there are so many amazing things that you have done and that you are doing currently. But I always like people to go back to when it all began. So if you could just introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and early in Elizabeth's career, what did you do for a profession, and what was that singular moment in your life where you knew you needed to make some sort of change?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I am Elizabeth Benton, and I live on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. I grew up as a really heavy kid. So my weight was a problem from day one, minute one. Despite not being really cool with that, I just got bigger and bigger and bigger and ended up studying nutrition because I was so desperate to create my own solution. But the answer wasn't there. And I worked in the supplement industry, and I worked as an obesity prevention specialist as a 350-pound woman, which was complicated and led to a lot of shame and frustration and disappointment. And I think at some point, I just decided to do something different than all the dieting tactics and strategies and this diet, that diet, different from putting all the focus on food and exercise and all of that stuff that I had been doing for 30 years. I just got tired of not living my life. I mean, that's really what it came down to. I got tired of missing out on everything, of playing small, of living small. And I knew that just doing the same thing by a different name, so just a different diet, I had to just totally change things altogether. And that's really when my life began to change.
So what was that? And I always ask people this. Was there a singular moment that you remember where you said, you know what? Enough is enough. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to look like this anymore. Enough is enough.
I mean, really, I had those moments every day for like decades. But what really shifted for me was when I sort of out of the blue realized that I wasn't lazy and unmotivated. Because for so long, I thought that was the problem. Like, I'm just not motivated. I'm just an emotional eater. And if I had to pinpoint any one moment, it was when I realized I actually am really motivated in my job, and I am really motivated with my finances, but this weight thing matters more to me than those do. So what's different there? And that was really when I finally could say, it's not a motivation issue. It's not a willpower issue. There's something else at play here. That was probably the biggest shift for me.
So you started to realize that you had to do something different in losing the weight, in feeling better. So everyone has a different, so to speak. What was your different?
There was a lot of components of it, but the first one was I wasn't going to hate my way to a body I loved. I couldn't continue to use shame and disgust. They weren't effective change strategies. It just made me more miserable. And then I wanted to soothe myself more, and I turned to food more. So
that is so good. Say that again. Say that one more time.
I don't even know what I said.
You weren't gonna hate your way to loving.
Yeah. I wasn't going to hate my way to a body I loved. Shame wasn't going to get me there. Disgust with myself wasn't going to get me there. And that was the card I played for so long, and it didn't work. So why would I keep playing it? And I decided to work with myself instead of against myself. And it became less about food and more about patience, more about being on my own side instead of against myself. So that's really what it was.
So what changes after you started really, loving yourself and being kind to yourself? What were some of the immediate changes that you noticed? And, for those that didn't read your bio, you did end up losing 100 pounds.
Over 100, yeah. Over 130.
Over 100 pounds. So how quickly did your body start to transform? And from an emotional and mental standpoint, how did you start to feel about yourself?
So I will say that I didn't begin by loving myself. That was not the shift. Though I didn't want to use hate as a strategy, I couldn't go from shame and disgust to like, I'm amazing and I'm beautiful and accept myself. No, it was just, I'm going to focus on the moment I'm in instead of everything I hate and everything I don't like and everything I want for myself. Just, can I win the moment I'm in? That's it. Just one moment, one choice. I always have one good choice in me. So it didn't start fast. And in fact, it never went fast. I didn't need it to either, because it wasn't about where I was trying to go. It was about where I was. How can I make myself feel great right now? It wasn't about how fast can I lose 100 pounds or how soon will it be before I can walk into a regular store and buy a pair of pants. It was, am I able and willing to take great care of myself right now?
So spending time in the present moment instead of looking too far ahead, because you can create anxiety and overwhelm by thinking too far ahead, like thinking 6 months from now, 3 months from now, even 2 weeks from now, but controlling and focusing on the only time that you have, which is the present moment right now. It brings you a certain amount of peace knowing that you had a victory that day, and you can repeat it day after day after day. And then that compounded effect starts to take place over time.
And for me, it wasn't peace. It was the only place where I had confidence. Because if I was stressed about everything I had done before that didn't work, there was no confidence there. If I was thinking about how far I had to go, I don't know. But in this moment, do I have one good choice in me? Yeah. So that's where the confidence came from.
I love that. I love that. So you work with a lot of women.
I do.
That is your tribe. Being on the other side of things now, you're down 130 pounds. You've regained your life, so to speak, and you have a new outlook and vision of where you want to take your life. So you were doing all of these, you worked in the supplement industry, you were working at obesity clinics. As you started to go on this personal journey of finding yourself and releasing this weight and stepping into your own power, did you have a shift in careers? What things came to the surface that you started to, do, or what were you becoming more drawn to?
I was becoming really connected to the fact that it has very little to do with food. Even though I was overeating and I was binge eating and I was hiding food and all of this, I was confusing being hungry and being empty. I was turning to food not because I was hungry, but because I was empty and I didn't know the difference. So the real shift for me was in realizing that food might be the smoke, but food is not the fire. Food might be the symptom, but it's not the problem.
Emotionally empty is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many other, are you finding that there's a lot of women that can relate to that sort of thing, that they're mistaking overeating and binge eating and all of these things for actually just something that they're missing in their life?
Well, it's a distraction, right? So when people want to lose weight, they're not confused about eating 16 cookies being good or bad, but there's something going on when we want to change so badly, but we're not consistently doing what it takes. There's something else there. It's not about the food. It's not, well, I just like cookies more than I like my goal. No, it's not that at all. And it's the difference between smoke and fire, right? If you have a fire in your house, but all you see is smoke, you're going to go after that smoke, but your work will never be done, which is why so many people struggle with this for so long, because they never realize I'm addressing the smoke, but I haven't identified the fire. I don't know where it is. I don't know what it is. And that is what I do with my clients.
This is really good shit right now. Like I've never heard this take on it, because, my background is in health and wellness. I was a personal trainer and sports nutritionist for 18 years. So I dealt with a lot of this working with people, and I've helped people lose 100 pounds. And a lot of it is mental, absolutely. But I never heard this concept of literally filling a different kind of space with something else, like just feeling empty in some way, shape, or form. So,
Yeah.
so now that you really started to define what was missing in your life and realizing that you were misguiding and filling, you know, feelings of whatever, it's lack of self-worth or whatever it is for each individual person. Now that you've kind of figured this thing out and you have this, for lack of a better term, you have a system now around what you're doing.
Yeah.
How did you then begin helping other people with this?
People started coming to me. That's how it started. I mean, I had been 350 pounds for years. I had been miserable and very vocal about my unhappiness with my weight. And people saw that changing in a real meaningful way. And that's how it started. Like, I want to help you beat this. But at the same time, I worked for a supplement company and I wasn't taking the products. So at that point, I was like, something's got to give here. So that's when I left to start Primal Potential.
All right. So before we get into Primal Potential, which I want to talk about, is that your book behind you on the shelf?
It is Chasing Cupcakes.
Okay. So I want to talk about that for a little bit too. So tell people, what did you do to lose the 130 pounds? Like, what was your, I mean, I know what you did, but share with the audience, you know, because everyone is looking for maybe and listen, you and I both know, we talked about that there's so many fads out there, you know, there's people are doing intermittent fasting, they're doing keto, and I believe in always living a maintained lifestyle, doing something that you can maintain for life, healthy for life. So what is that for you?
So the reason I was able to change my body is because I changed my story. And food aside, because today the way I ate might look low carb, meh-ish. Tomorrow it might look keto. The next day it might look intermittent fasting. I eat in a lot of different ways. I eat mostly whole foods and I don't turn to food if I'm not really hungry and all of that. But the thing that made it possible was not the nutritional approach, which I love geeking out on the nutrition stuff, but it's not the stuff.
Right.
Because you'll just keep redoing the work over and over and over and over. I changed my story from, I'm just the fat girl, really great at losing weight, terrible at keeping it off, I'm an emotional eater, my metabolism's jacked up, to I'm whatever I decide to be today. That's it. And it's literally changing my story is why I was able to change my life. The how, there are a million, and everybody's going to be different.
Yeah.
I had a million hows before. The problem was I was inconsistent, and I kept returning to the smoke, the overeating, the excuses, the exceptions. What got me out of that wasn't about nutrition. It was about mindset.
I love that. I mean, and people don't realize that whether it's physical success, whether it's emotional success, spiritual success, monetary success, relationship success, it all comes back to your mindset. It all comes back
100%.
to what goes on in the space between your two ears, because what goes on up here, it transmutes into everything else that's going on in your life. So before we go into your new business, talk about Chasing Cupcakes and what that book meant to you, still means to you, where people can get it and what they can expect to learn from it.
So it's not a book to learn from. It's not a book that will help you learn by intention, by design. It's a book that will help you change. Because I have read every freaking book there is about nutrition and fat loss. But if you don't know how to be a joyful change agent in your own life, it doesn't matter. So it is a book that will help you change. It is the book that I needed to bridge the gap between what I knew and what I was actually doing. Between all the things I wanted for my life and all the excuses I was making. So that's really what it is. It's not about weight loss. I tell stories about getting out of debt. I tell stories about certainly my relationship with food, but it is a book to help you create change in your life that you will sustain with pleasure.
I love, my friend Margie Jacobs just wrote that she just ordered it and it's on the way from Amazon. So,
Oh, yay.
so, and again, I mean, I'm doing the interview and people are watching, but I mean, I could feel your passion and everything through this. So
Thank
it's,
you.
you can't, you can't fake how you feel about something. And that's the truth, is that when you feel a certain way about something, and when you're in the know, it's so easy to talk about because you've been there. And there's a lot of life coaches out there, and people get certified to teach, and I tell people all the time, the best certification that anyone can ever get that they can share with others is living through that experience themselves.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you go through that experience yourself, that gives you the knowledge and the know-how and the tools and the system to then share that with other people. And I love that. So
Yeah.
something else that was really cool is that you started a podcast about 3.5, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me about it a little bit, and just share with me and the audience a little bit about how the podcast came about, what the intention behind it really was, because it was
Mhm.
just a way for you to share your voice and your journey and just what's worked for you. But talk about, on the back end of it, the impact that it really did have on you personally and then professionally, and how your business ended up spawning out from everything that you were talking about.
So when I left my job, I started a blog, and I hated writing and nobody was reading it. And I realized that I really prefer to talk about something that's so emotional and so personal. So I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. And somebody who's been there, somebody who gets it, you're chuckling at me because you know that it kind of
No,
just
because
like,
I remember sitting at dinner and but this is exactly how you told me the story. You're like, yeah, I just started a podcast.
I did. I
And
Googled it. Yeah. I Googled it and I started a podcast, and it got 1 million downloads like way faster than I thought it would, just in a few months.
1 million,
And
guys, 1 million downloads in a few months. That's
it
crazy.
was really, really special. And I just fell in love with it. And I really consider the podcast my business. Everything else is an extension of the love and the passion and the enthusiasm that I share on the podcast.
What's your podcast
That's
called?
it.
So for people that don't know.
Primal Potential.
So, guys, for those that aren't subscribed to this podcast, you can find it on Spotify, Google Podcast, iTunes,
Stitcher.
Stitcher, all those, Pocket Cast. You can find all of those there. So let's talk about Primal Potential as a business. So, even though you still consider your podcast your business, you were able to launch this incredible program where people are absolutely transforming their life and their minds and their bodies. So talk a little bit about this business and who it helps and how people can learn more about it, because it truly is one of a kind.
So it's called the 12 Weeks to Transformation. And while a lot of people are drawn to it because they want to lose weight, it's not the focus of it. Because when you understand the core tenets of creating change in your life, you can change everything in your life. Your happiness, your relationships, your finances, your career, your body, your fitness, your health, you name it. And so that's what we do, because I realized that a lot of people need that community, that daily pull back in that keeps you from drifting, right? That like, I got you, here we are. Yep, it's Tuesday. Things are crazy. Here we go. Come on, today's a new day. And that's really what we do over 12 weeks together.
Amazing. So 2 questions. Number one, how can people learn more about it? What does, I mean, even though it's over 12 weeks, and can you give a brief description of what someone can expect? And you have a ton of recommendations and amazing stories. But if you could share one really big transformative story of someone that's gone through the 12-week program, just a little bit about that so you can paint a little bit of a picture for the people listening.
Sure. So one of my clients came in looking to lose about 30 pounds, and she did. But more importantly than that, she turned her business around. She owns a bar, completely turned it around. It was struggling. It was in danger. Now it is thriving because of the way she changed her mind.
Mm.
Her marriage was in trouble. They were on the rocks. Now they've never been happier. She had relationships with some of her siblings that were really tenuous. She has more peace and happiness in her life and her family than ever before. And it's because of the way she changed her mind that allowed her to change her body, her finances, her relationships. So as far as what people can expect, there is a journal. It's a physical journal. I call it an identity journal that helps you reconnect every day to the version of you want to be and how you can practically do that today in the day you're in. So that's one piece of it. Then we have a weekly challenge. Every week there is a specific focus. We're all in it together. There's daily audio messages that kind of just pull you back in, recenter you, bring you back to why you're here, what you want. We have live weekly Q&As, that sort of thing. Private Facebook group, all that.
Wow. This is, I mean, you need to know what you've created and what you've done is really incredible. But I can like see it in your face, like how happy you are outside of living on an orchard now, how happy you are. And how's the orchard coming? How's everything been going?
We set it on fire by accident the other day, but everything's fine.
Okay, good, good. So,
yeah,
so you addressed the fire, not the smoke, correct?
That's right. We found the fire. We put it out. Yeah, literally.
But I can just see it in your face how not only how much pride you're taking in what you're doing, but I think it's more so it's the impact that you're now leaving behind for those that are coming into this 12-week challenge. So is there a challenge going on right now? Because I know that this is you launch these every so often throughout the year.
Yeah.
If there is not, when is the next 12-week challenge that people can get into, and how can they learn more about getting into it?
The next one starts April 7th. Registration will open up in just a few weeks, and you can go to primalpotential.com, or if you want to go directly to that page, it's primalpotential.com/transform.
Awesome. So, and I also highly, highly suggest you guys to not only connect with Elizabeth on social media, but subscribe to her podcast. And what I love about podcasts now, it's a really way to connect with people in bite-sized dosages when you can fit that in, because, you know, again, a lot of people would love to see people in person all the time, but it really gives you that ability to stay connected and grounded to people. And the fact is, and you upload how many new episodes a week?
2, but we're going to 3.
Wow. So you're pumping out some content. So how many episodes are you up to now?
Over 600, but numbering wise, it's like 560 something, because I used to just number weird. Amazing.
So again, you know, there's the one thing I love about this tribe that I'm now a part of with Elizabeth is that we're all learning and growing with each other, from each other. And that's the point of this mastermind, because, you know, we were sitting in this room and every single one of us, you know, are perfectly imperfect. Every single one of us. There are things there's things that we're all doing really, really good, and there's things that we're all doing really, really bad. And and you may look at someone like Elizabeth, you may look at someone like me, and they're like, man, they really got their shit together. And we'll be the first to admit we are far from perfect, and our shit is nowhere near together. But we're constantly in the place and space of figuring it out, becoming the best version of ourselves for those that are around us. So before we end tonight, any last piece of advice, any words you want to leave the audience before we sign off?
You always have one more good chance, one more good choice in you. And every single choice that you make today is a chance to make a small improvement, to make yourself proud, and to build confidence. Don't think about these big, huge things, 30 days, 12 weeks, blah, blah, blah. One choice at a time.
I love that. So again, guys, subscribe to her podcast, check out her website, stay connected to her. And Elizabeth, I just want to, just so much love and gratitude for you for coming on here and blessing my audience with your knowledge and your words and your inspiration. And I'm just so excited to see where you and your business are going to go. And I'm just grateful for your connection and looking forward to do much more with you together in our mastermind and everything that we have planned in the future. So thank you again for taking the time tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will be connecting soon.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bye-bye.
So as you guys can see, one choice, one decision at a time. Success looks different to each person, but Elizabeth is, oh God, you could just see it in her smile. Like you can see the pride and the joy and the excitement and her passion just in the way that she smiles. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. Remember, subscribe to her podcast, go to her website, be a part of her 12-week challenge. And I just want to thank you guys for joining me again tonight. Love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.